Ripley's alarm. In Aliens, Ripley and Little Newt are trapped in a real nightmare, and they're literally surrounded by live facehuggers inside the station's infirmary. They're completely defenseless with no access to weapons, and screaming for help wouldn't do any good. They try breaking the glass, but no one hears them. The infirmary is isolated, and the other Marines have no idea what's happening inside. But Ripley isn't the type to give up easily. She spots the fire sensor on the ceiling, and then she has a brilliant idea. Ripley grabs a lighter and holds the flame close to the detector. The sensor reacts instantly. The fire alarm echoes throughout the entire complex, and immediately the Marines rush to see what's going on. They get there just in time, managing to drive the facehuggers away and save Ripley and Newt. The cotton. If you're tied to a chair and about to have your brain replaced, you'd better think fast. In Get Out, Chris had already been suspicious that something was wrong at his girlfriend's house, but no one could have guessed just how far that family would go to keep their guests around. When he realizes he's being hypnotized every time he hears the spoon stirring in the teacup, Chris understands he needs to stop hearing that sound. So he does the unthinkable. He pulls out tufts of cotton from the armchair he's sitting in and stuffs them into his ears. When the kidnappers come in to take him to surgery, they think he's still under hypnosis, but Chris is wide awake. The cotton, ironically pulled from the very chair that was holding him prisoner, ended up saving his life. The paper trick. In Train to Busan, the characters have no weapons, no superpowers, no military training. But what they do have is brains. Trapped inside a train car with fast, loud, ravenous zombies, the survivors have to find a way to stay alive. That's when Song Kyung, Sung Hwa's pregnant wife, notices something important. The zombies only react to visual and sound stimuli. They can't see well in the dark, and they're attracted to movement. Without wasting any time, she grabs a water bottle and a piece of newspaper lying nearby. With a quick motion, she sticks the newspaper to the glass using the water as an improvised adhesive, creating a curtain that completely blocks the zombies' view. The effect is immediate. Now, without any stimulus, the undead just stand still on the other side of the glass door, silent. It was a simple but brilliant solution, the doppelganger. In the movie Us, an American family faces a twisted version of themselves, evil doubles that show up out of nowhere and want to take their place. The youngest son, Jason, starts to notice something strange about his doppelganger, Pluto. He mimics Jason's every move, like a living reflection. Later, after Jason's dad and sister manage to take out their respective doubles, the family tries to escape by car, but they're caught off guard. It's clearly an ambush. Jason quickly realizes what's going on. He sees Pluto standing in front of the burning car with his arms open and instantly understands. It's a trap. Then he does something brilliant. Jason starts walking backward, and Pluto, like a reflection, does the same without thinking, just imitating the boy. The result? Jason ends up walking straight into the arms of his shadow mother. And Pluto? The face of evil. Few villains in cinema are as coldly intelligent as Hannibal Lecter. And in this scene, he proves exactly why. Throughout the Silence of the Lambs, Dr. Lecter manipulates everyone around him, especially young FBI agent Clarice. With his charm and knowledge, he manages to secure a deal to be transferred to more comfortable facilities. But he never wanted comfort. What he wanted was to escape. Of course, the police wouldn't handle a man like him without precautions, so they keep him chained up far away before placing his food inside the cage. But that wouldn't be enough. Lecter waits for the perfect moment, slips out of the handcuffs with ease, and starts his plan. After killing both guards, Hannibal has an even more bizarre plan. When the other officers arrive, they find a gruesome crime scene and one of the guards lying on the floor. He's quickly rushed to the hospital, but here comes the plot twist. That guard was actually Hannibal Lecter himself. He had removed the guard's face and wore it as a mask. By the time the police realize what happened, it's already too late. The nerve-wracking scene in the whole movie. The chainsaw hand. Losing an arm could be the end of the road for a lot of people, but not for Ash Williams. In the second Evil Dead movie, Ash is forced to do the unthinkable, amputate his own arm after it's possessed by an evil force. And that alone would be insane enough, but Ash doesn't stop there. Even badly injured and surrounded by chaos, he comes up with an idea worthy of a true survivor. He attaches the chainsaw to the stump of his amputated arm, turning his own body into a weapon. The result? A dead-it killing machine that became a horror movie legend. The button. You're surrounded by heavily armed guards, trapped in an underground bunker full of monsters. What would you do? Well, Dana and Marty from the cabin in the woods seem to have found an answer. But what is this system purge thing? In that complex, hundreds of horrifying creatures are locked in cells, carefully controlled by a secret team. These monsters are used as tools to sacrifice young people in rituals meant to prevent the apocalypse. The system purge button basically opens every single cell at once. The decision might seem absurd, and honestly it is, but right then, in that moment, it was their only chance. In the blink of an eye, dozens of grotesque creatures are unleashed. Ghosts, zombies, werewolves, all the classics we know from horror movies. Seriously, this scene is so good. The cuffs. In a locked building with a deadly virus spreading, any wrong move can cost lives. But Officer Sergio made the right call at exactly the right time. In Eric, journalist Angela and her cameraman Pablo join firefighters on a nighttime call to a building in Barcelona. What was supposed to be a simple report turns into a nightmare when a resident attacks the rescuers like an animal. The chaos spreads through the building. A little girl named Jennifer starts showing strange symptoms and suddenly vomits blood on her mother Marie's face before running off. Sergio, one of the officers on the scene, doesn't waste a second. Before running after the girl, he handcuffs Marie to the stair railing. It was a quick, cold move. Jennifer was clearly infected, and now Marie could be too. Restraining her was the only way to keep her from becoming another threat. And the creepiest part, that decision ends up saving everyone later on, at least for a while. The escape plan. Escaping from a psychopath locked in a bunker with you isn't something you can pull off on impulse. It takes planning, courage, and a generous dose of creativity. N10 Cloverfield Lane. Michelle is trapped in a shelter with Howard, an unstable man obsessed with conspiracy theories and showing increasingly dangerous behavior. After discovering a second hidden exit while Howard was fixing the ventilation system, Michelle starts coming up with a plan. She knows that getting out will take more than just courage, so she builds her own improvised hazmat suit, stitched together with plastic and tape, because outside there might be something even worse. But when Howard discovers her plan, she has to act fast. Before she can climb out, she has to face Howard.
This is how you repay me.
No. This is...
She manages to distract him just long enough to reach the ducts and crawl through them until she gets to the hatch. After putting on her suit, she reaches the next desperate part of the escape, breaking the lock. Using a compressed air cylinder and some heavy blows, Michelle freezes the lock and smashes it. Wearing her makeshift suit, she climbs out through the hatch and finally sees daylight again. She had cleverly escaped captivity, but now she's about to find out that the world outside might not be much better. The footprints. Mommy's sweater. Jason Voorhees may be an unstoppable killing machine, but even monsters have their weaknesses. In Friday the 13th, Part 2, Ginny is being chased by Jason at Crystal Lake. As usual, but she's sharper than she looks. Right in the middle of the horror, Ginny comes up with a brilliant idea. She puts on Jason's mother's sweater and steps into character. With a calm maternal voice, she starts talking to Jason as if she were Pamela Voorhees herself. Jason hesitates and lets his guard down. For a brief moment, the brutal killer turns back into a scared, obedient little boy. Ginny tries to take advantage of the opening to finish him off, but Jason realizes the trick before she can land the final blow. Still, the plan worked long enough to turn the tables, and soon after, Jason is defeated. Well, maybe not. The blood test. How do you identify a monster when it can look exactly like any one of your friends? In the classic The Thing, paranoia takes over a team of scientists after they discover an alien creature among them, one that can take the form of any human. With no idea who to trust, protagonist MacReady turns to the only weapon he has left, logical thinking. Knowing that the alien organism is so instinctively defensive that even its blood will react to danger, MacReady comes up with a simple yet brilliant test. He collects blood samples from everyone and heats them with a red-hot piece of metal. Nothing happens with the first few, but when the wire touches Palmer's blood, the blood literally panics. The alien has been revealed. One of the most creative and nerve-wracking solutions in horror, using nothing but basic science, fire, and desperation. Now I want to know, which decision do you think was the smartest of them all? Drop your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon.